Welcome. I am the database guy. I'm glad you're joining me again. Presentation 10 video 1. Please like and subscribe. This is our intermediate, the beginnings of our intermediate, the very first one, that is intermediate VBA programming. And we're going to learn about record sets here. So without further ado, we're going to go into a new module I created, and we'll create it as a subroutine, and we're going to call this one int1 example or example. Okay, so we're going to loop through record sets, and we need to declare implicitly some variables. We need to do this, and when you do this, you really don't want to have a global variable doing this because you want to access the variables, use them, and close them out. Okay. So DB, we're going to call this DB as DAO. Sorry. Database, and then of course the other one, and I'll explain this in a minute, RS as, what happened there? Sorry. DAO, and I always do it with DAO. I could have just done it with record set or with, I'm sorry, database or record set. So DAO means database access object. It really is pointing to things that are internal to access and access only. If I were using SQL, I would have to do something called ADO, which I'll get into at a later time. We're not at that point yet. So I need something for the database variable, I need something for the record set variable, and then I have to set db equal to current database. And this may sound ridiculous, but I have to make sure I point the database to the current database. I could point it to another database. I could easily do that and then parse through those as well. And then record set equals, and we're going to use the DB variable. Now we can use the DB variable instead of current database. That's the whole point of declaring it. And we hit our little period for our IntelliSense to come up. And OPEN record set. Now, I want to stop for a moment here. So what happens here is when I set the variable DB equal to current database, I can now use that as opposed to using current database. So let me just show you. I could have used this one as well, but I'm not going to use it. That's the whole point of declaring my DB variable, to shorten up my code, right? Okay. So I'm going to, at this point, when we put a parentheses in, we have to have a name of the record set, and this is going to be, I'm sorry, I think I just hit TBL books. I must have hit the enter. And let's see, that's good. Now, should be TBL, table books. Let us go into, we're looking at this table. We're going to parse all the records in this table and see what they are. So now we're going to use a statement called with. And now because we declared the RS variable, we're going to use that. So in other words, instead of typing in each time RS dot, let me just show it to you first. RS dot and getting all those, all I have to now press is my dot, and I'm going to use something called record count, and I'm going to debug print it just to show you. We're going to run this. We should do a debug here, and we're good. And so this will be int1examp. We're going to run it. Whoops, sorry. Oh, I didn't spell it right. That's me. I put the S in there. Sorry. Little extra stuff there. And now it says I only have one record. That doesn't make any sense, does it? So we're going to look here for a minute, and we know we have more than one record. So the question is why? Well, whenever you're using record count, whenever you look at records, one of the things you have to do, and it's good practice, you need to move to the last record, and you need to move to the first record. And I'm hitting this thing here, dot. back to the first. So in other words, you're going down to the last record, you're coming back to the first record, and by that point in time, you will be capturing all records that exist. It's good practice, and you should do it. All right, so whoops, didn't spell it right. Eight records. Well, there we go. That's pretty good. All right, that's good. What if we want to go through these records and we want to see what data is within there? All right, I'm going to just comment out this. It won't operate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say for, and we're going to have to declare a variable here. I know I didn't finish my statement, so let's go back. Whenever you type in and don't finish, you're going to error out. It's going to say, hey, you haven't finished. X as, or why don't I do it this way? INTX as integer. There we go. So we're going to do a for loop here. Equals, and we're going to obviously 1 to record count, to dot record count. And so by doing this, depending upon how many records I actually do have, all right, in this case 8, I should loop 8 times. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have debug.print rs. And this is an interesting statement here. We're going to go to, and I know it's going to probably error me out if I move to our books, to design view. Yeah, I can't change it. I know that. We're going to put field title in there. And when you do this, it's very different. So, and next INTX. All right, so we're going to just debug print the field title. Let's see that there's no issues with this. Good. And it's not moving, is it? Right. It's giving me the same one 8 times. So what happens here is that we're looping through it, but we're missing something. We're staying at the very first, right? We're staying at the very first. Let's go to move next. Very first record. We're not moving at all in our record set, right? Debug print it. Okay. Or debug compile, rather. There we go. Now we go through everything and we stop. All right. If we had gone beyond there, if we did this record count plus 1, let's see what happens. We're going to probably error out. It's going to say I can't find that record, right? Whoops, sorry. Yep, no current record. It's looking for it. It's saying I don't see a record at 9, which makes sense, right? And so this particular concept here is, and then I can do this with each field that I want to do this with. So we're going to do this with year, and we'll do it active. So let's just make sure we have the right field names or we're going to error out. See. Right, so field active and field year, that's good enough. Whoa, so I got an error somewhere. Let's see. RS field year, RS field active. Active. Let's see which one it's not saying. Go to debug. Which one? Oh, active is not. Oh, I see why. I didn't spell. I spelled it without the D. Again, you got to be specific. You spell something wrong, even if you debug and compile and you don't get an error, you will get it. And there we go. So this is one way of parsing a record set. Now, you always want to, after you finish that, set db equal to nothing. I believe you can do that, and set rs equal to nothing. You always want to close out the variables properly. So let's see if we got this right, and I believe we do. We do. So once you close all of that out, you're good. Now, I can do whatever I want within here, but here's the thing about this. It's kind of a way of, I don't know. It's not static because, again, it goes up to record count, the total number of records that we see, but you require a variable for integer x as well. So there's another way of parsing a record set, and we're going to do that. We're going to copy this. We got to be careful, and we're going to call this example 2. Let's take out integer x. Now, this is fine. This is fine. We're going to take out our for next here, right? And the other type of loop we can have is do while not dot EOF. EOF is end of file. Okay, so do while you're not at the end of the file. And then loop here. Sorry, at lop, loop. So this is a do, right? All right. So you can do while you're not at the end of the file, and you keep looping once you get to the end of the file. So we're going to go with example 2 here, and let's see what happens, and we're good, right? So here's another way of parsing. We're basically saying do while we're not at the end of the file, debug, print, move next, loop. Okay. Another way of doing it. Remember we had the do, and we had the do while and the do until. So we could do a do. Oh, let's oops, sorry. Let's undo that. Let's copy this one instead, since we're going to use a do loop again, but a different do loop. And let's see, yeah, we got to make this 3. And we could have do until end of file, right? So we should get, hopefully if we're right, and we do until end of the file, or do and loop until end of file. We could do that one too. Let's see if that will work. It's really one and the same thing, and it works. So I have a lot of different options here. And I kind of like do until end of file. Now, what is the benefit to doing the do loop versus the for next? Well, I don't have to have any other variables there. Really good in that sense. I go until I hit the end of the file. But I will need to have a failsafe in here. Okay, so here, if dot record, oh, I jumped, I'm sorry. Oh boy. If dot, yeah, I know. Didn't get the whole expression. If dot record count equals 0, then exit do. And end if, just end if. So what are we saying here? If for some reason I have no records there, I don't want to error. Because what will happen is, I will, if I have no records, I will try to move and it will say there's an empty record set. Okay. So let us take an example of that. So while we're here, we're going to say no, we're not changing anything here. Let's see. Let's open up. Okay, so let's look at this. This is a table here. I don't know how it got in here, but we're going to go with comments. We're going to change this to comments as our record set. We have nothing in there, right? Comments. So if I run this one here, I shouldn't hopefully error out. Let's see. No current records. So it's trying to move here. So what we have to do here is replace the location of this, right? So, so what we need to do here is with our S, we're going to do not exit do because we're not in a do loop anymore, but exit sub. All right. So if I have no records, it doesn't matter whether I'm moving to my first or my last record. What's going to happen is I'm going to see 0 here, and I'm actually going to do a debug dot print dot record count to show that I have 0. In other words, what I am saying to you is that, and I forgot about this, I can't even move if I have no records. Get rid of this. So let's try it now. It should be fine. We shouldn't error out, and we don't error out. As you see, we come to that if-then statement. We find 0 and we exit the sub. We're not going to do anything with it. So if we put this back to books, we should be able to, or table books, we should be able to run effectively. Right? So let's do that. And this is a way, there we go, a way of making sure that if for some reason I don't have any data, I can avoid the error of moving last, moving first. I can't move if I have no data. And I really forgot those 2 points there. I'm thinking running it in here, which is bad enough anyway. Now, what else can we do with this whole thing with RS and all? Well, we look here, we can add a new record, right? And we'll show you that in another video. Beginning of file is BOF. We could have said do if BOF, then do until end of file, but it's just pointless. It's redundant. What else? There's bookmark. We're going to learn about bookmarks at some point. Don't worry about clone or close. Actually, that's the one we should have. It should be close. It should be rs close. Delete. We can delete a record. We can edit a record. I'm going to see that one. We can. Well, we did the move first, move last, move next, move previous. We're going to see these two in action when we have to set up our navigational keys. All right. We're going to obviously requery. We don't worry about requerying at this point. Where's the one I want to show? The update one. Once we make a change, we've got to update. So should be. Let's just see. Is there a close on this one? Yes, there is. So, and then we should have db.close and rs.close. Close the database, close the record set. Actually, it should be in a certain order, by the way. We should first close, not clone. There it is. Close the record set and then close the database because you open them up in that order. All right, I could take the nothing away. We don't need to worry about that. So what I'm going to do is replace these in my code so you can see them when you want to look at this here. So, yep, and here. Not nothing, but close. I'm not setting a variable, so let's see. Good. And yeah, there we go. So All right, so what we're seeing here now, we're closing out the record set first and then the database um, to make sure that we do it in the right order. So what do we want to, if we want to change data or modify data, we'll get to that in a moment. We really will. Not this video, but in another video. I don't want to give you too much, but looping through a record set's very powerful. It's very important. You can do things and you can, now let's do something interesting here. Message box. Um, and let's see, comma, VB. Nope, we have to, I think we're going to have to put this, let's see, title, let's try it, equals, I'm spelling it wrong. All right, equals, and RSV titled, and let's just take out the others for now. VB okay, only. So let's see what happens. We should see a message box pop up each and every time. All right, let's see it. Test one, Scarlet Letter, Moby Dick, so on. So again, how you process the data within that loop is up to you, and you will process it in a certain way. Now, I'm not going to give you the find first statement yet. That'll come in our next video. I don't want to drop too much. But let's go back to our database and let us look at, now we're going to start programming some of our, or one of our, this particular key, a command button. Not a key, but a command button. Let's go to Code Builder. And we see it's command add book author and authors. All right, so what do we want it to do? In the logic, what we're going to have it do is we need to enable the 5 controls below here, and we need to enable the 2 controls below here. So that's 7 controls. Now, being that some of the controls are on a subform, some of the controls, one control's on a subform, the others are on the main form. I'm going to give it to you the long way right now, okay? Because you really, and I'll explain why, okay? So the first part of this is me dot equals true. We want to enable that one. Me dot txt isbn dot, oh, we already have that one. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Txt title dot enabled equals true, and me dot txt year, and then of course me dot cbo publisher dot enabled do it. Thank you. Equals true. And then we have another issue that we deal with here. Remember, those controls are on our main form, so we can get those. Forms, and we're going to go, let's see, form, de main, and then, let's see, this is going to be a subform, so we got to be careful here. Let's go back to it, make sure we have the name of it correct. If you don't get the name correct, you won't be able to point to it. And here we go. And that name is this one. Not the source object, which is this. It happens to have the same name. In this case, I don't like that practice because you can have a circular kind of reference. Right, I didn't give everything to this, so um, and then dot, and let's see what the control name is. We got to get the right control name here. CBO author, and the other control name, by the way. Actually, this one here, well, we'll enable that one too. Text ISBN. So okay, so is it text author? Yeah, no, it's CBO author. It must have been originally. Oh, it's a combo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Not enabled. Equals true. And we're going to do the same thing for the text ISBN. Now, there's an easier way to do it. All right. And that is, so we're going to debug print this, debug compile it rather, not debug print. Make sure there's no errors inherent. What we're going to do is set everything to true. That's our first step. And then we're also going to have let's just see what happens. I'm thinking, no, we have to have allow additions to be true because we only have the single form. We're not worried about seeing any more than that. It's not going to be an issue here. Let us go to this one, the subform. That one we're going to set to, and this one here has to be a little bit different. Allow additions, and we're going to set that to false. And we're going to make sure I got the right one in there. I spelled it wrong. All right, so let's just see for me.form.allow additions. Yeah. Now I can't do that. So the first step in this, let's save it. And it doesn't support the, all right, so we're getting this issue here with this one here saying, sorry, we can't, we're not pointing correctly to it. Let's go back to form view and let's just see that it, okay. So what's happening here is, I think we've got a point. And I'm going to go over this with you. I think we have to immediately point to the item in question. See, normally here, when we do a me, because we're right there, we have to be the period. But when we're pointing to it from the main form to the subform to the control, it's got to be an immediate point. And let's see if that's going to work. Whoops, I just opened my publisher here. Sorry. All right, so everything else is going well except this guy right here. And that's probably because, so everything open than we had this one down here, right? So let's go back into design view. And I think what it is it's not forms, but form. It should say form because when I go here, right, me.form, that's how you want to address it. Yeah, me form, not forms. Whenever you're looking for a form property, it's me form or the pointing to the form. And I'm going to go through this in a separate video, every one of these kind of possible combinations to review so you can have that. All right. So now we should be golden. And let's see. So I think we should be good. Can't access the form. Okay. So I think in this one here now, we're not pointing to a control, we're pointing to the main form. I think it's going to be that way. When you point to a control, it's got to be an immediate, but the form itself is part of the subform. So let's see. And we're good. So now we're not seeing this, right? So let's go to form design. Now let's comment out this one here. Just for a minute, for the sake of argument. And let's see what happens. I want to show you the difference. And you're not seeing it here. Interestingly enough, you're not. Probably because, let's go to this form here. Let's make sure, because it might be turned off. Yeah, it is. As long as it's on in default, it can be turned off by virtue of that code, and it won't come back on. So we're going to save this. We're going to hit it again. And, oh, wait a minute. I think I have it to no. Oh, let me go back in. Did I do what I think I did? Hmm. Oh, it's a filter. Oh, I see. I said data entry. Yes, and what? That one I want. I picked the wrong one. Got to be careful. And that's a little tricky thing with these little controls here, these parameters. And now you see what happens. You see the two of them here, right? So now if we add books, boom. We don't want that. So when we bring this in here, let's see what will happen now. It very well may. And it does. Now I'm going to go out to design view one more time and come back into form view, and it still remains. So actually, in all honesty, we don't need to worry about this particular allow additions. But the thing is, if we say no, let's see if we can add a record to it. Let me see if it'll even allow me to do that. We're going to comment this out since we don't need to have this in here. Debug compile, looks good. So let's see, if I hit here, and let's see, if now I don't have an ISBN to put the author in here. There is nothing there. Let us, for the sake of argument, put this field up and visualize it so we can see it. We need to understand the flow of events here, and we will. So something's in here, okay? Data, nothing. All right, so let's save this and open it back up. So we're getting a number in here, probably due to what we had set up here. And let's see if there's a, oh, I know why. I know why. I'm sorry. Probably because I added that one. Let's go back to the table. Yeah, there's something added in there with nothing. All right, get rid of it. Yeah, so here's the thing. Now you're seeing nothing in here to add new. So if we hit this here, we got a problem. All right. So one of the things we have to do with this form is allow additions to be yes. Save it. So now when we hit this, we're good. Okay. But the issue is that how are we going to pick up the ISBN in here Okay. Get the right author associated with the right book if we don't have an ISBN here. All right. So what we need to do is um, we need to do something interesting, and that is now, as you recall, let's go to this one. I think the event's in there. Yes, it is. So what you saw here is we saw this code, right? And it should equal this, right? Now, one of the things we should not do is enable that last one until we're ready. So we're going to comment this out, save this, debug print. And what we're going to do here is we're not going to even place this here. Okay, we're not even going to place that there. We don't need to when we click the add. So this is good. So in the flow of events, we have to be careful here, okay? We need to be able to add this author and relate it to this. So we're going to go to the onClick event here. All right, we're going to, but before we do this, we're going to bring in this. So what we're going to say here in our flow of events is we're going to enable those two. Then we're going to set it equal to whatever we see in the ISBN. After we enter it. This is a click, I'm sorry. I don't want a click, I want an after update. Boy, that was an interesting one. Why it went click, I don't know. Did I hit the click routine on that one? Yeah, I did. I want the after update event, not the click. There we go. So we're going to debug and compile and save as a. So now let's look at the flow of events here. We hit this, we come in here. Now we can keep going around and around and around, but as you will find out here, I'm not entering anything, so I have no. If I hit a T in here, TG, you'll see it's now TG. So if I have ABC 1, 2, 3, 9, now it will become ABC 1, 2, 3, 9. All right. And then of course we can have the title and so on. Now, if I were to delete this here, okay, I would have to have code, and we're not going to do it just yet if we're not there in our flow. So ABD 1456, and that will come in. And you're not seeing all of it, but it is there. Good news there. Our title, Darkester, the year in 1902, let's say, and the publisher 4. Now, I'm just going to, at this point, Control S as a matter of safety here. I haven't got an author in here yet. And let's pick one that's in there and Control S that as well. So I just want to close this down for a minute and come to my tables here. And you'll see that I have what I've selected. So here's something interesting. After each selection, after each one, I should be able to do a save, right? To save the data. each and every time. Okay, so one of the controls, one of the things you can have here is do command oops, sorry, I just went, I'm keep hitting this button here. Do command run, I think it's run. Yeah, run command ACCMDS save. Save record. So here's the thing about that. You got to be careful with that save record. So let's see what happens. 12978 DEF, and I can do it because I can save the record because I have the primary key. So let us say, for the sake of argument, see what happens here. All right, it'll do it here too. I'm going to close this down for a moment. Yeah, save the form, save those. Let us go into our tables again. We do have a blank record in there, by the way. And in here, we have a blank record as well. All right. So just want to illustrate a point here. All right, let's go in design view again, and let's come to this one here. On my after update on this one, code builder. So we're going to put in the same thing. And you're going to see something that will cause an issue. All right, so, and let's just try the word dark Hester. Actually, it does save it. I'm thinking because there is no primary key in there, but let's look into the tables for books temp, and it does save it. Let's just see something. Oh, I know why. Because in the temp table, it's not a primary key. That's why. Okay, so if it were a primary key, you couldn't save the record. I want you to understand that concept, but we're okay. So with that particular one, we're not going to have an issue. But if you're trying to save a record and there's a primary key and the primary key isn't entered, look out. Going to have a problem. So we go back to our form. We're going to open this up in design view again. We're going to come to year and do the on-click on that one as well. And we're going to also want to save the record after each change. And we're going to also come down to here. We're going to pick up our publisher. You don't even have to pick it up through the control, as you can see, and do the same thing here. So we're going to end this at this point because we're not going to want to go any further than this at this point. So when we activate this here, the authors aren't immediately activated. We can type in 12765 XYZ. It'll bring it there. Dark Hester. We'll call this one here. The year 1902. The publisher. 3. Now, saving the data in the field. So we're going to come up with a record, with an issue here on this particular one here. So also before update event. Ooh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong event. Wow. That's a little nuance of selecting it from here. We need the after update event. So just to note that once you select, and I'm going to do it with another control just to show you. So if I were to select, I need something. Let's see, subform authors. I'm going to come up with the very first event. And that's the reason why that happened. I want you to know that. So that is why it flagged me for an error, and that's fine. Because before update, now what is before update? Well, that means before you make any changes, try 2, 2's fine. Let's try 3, 3, we're fine. Before you make any changes, what's going to happen is that you you're going to evaluate the data that's there. After you make the changes, you're going to evaluate. That's the after update. Before update, I don't tend to use a lot of unless I'm validating the data as I'm entering it. So excuse me. So, and there's one more thing we want to do here. Get rid of these. Sorry, hit my microphone. We want to come into this one here, and we want to no, I want to do it from here. I want to select this one. Right after the user enters or selects the publisher, we want to be right into the author. All right. Looks good. We're going to save it. Yeah. Let's go back into let's see what happens. So after I update this, it is not seeming to move over there. I can click there, but we should. So let's see. Um, we want to set focus, and set focus means we move it to. I'm just going to show it to you on the main form for a minute. Yeah, I know. Me dot txtisbn dot set focus. Yep, that's a section. Sorry, got to type the whole word sometimes. There it is. Let's take this one out. How this set focus really does work. Let's go back to 2, and you'll see it goes back here, right? So we should be able to do the same thing here. So let us see if we can first, and I think that's what the problem is. Oh, I know what it is. Me.s form, no, not authors, DE authors. So set focus. So we can set focus to that first, and then the control. So let's see what happens. We can't, that's the problem. We can't jump, well, we should be able to, but let's see if it works. And there it is. It's going right down there. Let me see what happens if I just take this out. My concern is that which control will I jump to? And I'm jumping to it anyway because it's probably the only control in here. Let's go into design view and confirm that. Whoa, let's save this. Yeah. I think what happened is because everything is, here we go. Go to tab order, and the tab order is author, ISBN, author, and so actually this one here should be first. We're going to okay that, but I don't think I'm setting a tab on these. So let's just see. Yeah, no on this one, and the other one is, what's the other one in there? So, and just a CVO author in general, yeah. So, sorry, the text BAID is the other one here. So what happens is here, yeah, because I set it to no for both the other controls, I don't have to. See, if I'd have set these to yes, let's show you what happens. Just want to demonstrate this for you so you can see it. The power of correctly coding things. And we should. All right. Now, um, if I were to change the publisher here, I'm still first in here. So in other words, boy, let me do this in the order that they are. So we would have ISBN first, and then of course author, and then I want to make this clear. All right, so I'm going to change this. And there you see what happened. It went to the first item in which I have the tab order. Now, if I place this in here, I am thinking that we're going to go right to what we want. So let's see. And indeed we do. All right. But the really safe way to do this is to say no on the controls you don't want in tab order. It will not even stop there. And that way it doesn't matter. That extra piece of code is useless. So a lot of times, however, we don't have that. We have a lot of controls there. And there we go. And so we'll take, let's say, Agatha Christie. And now in this particular one, and when we come back, we're going to finish the coding on this. We're going to save that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take off allow additions so that we don't have that extra one below. We're going to really make this something that works out well. Okay. Oh, there's one last thing that we forgot. Why don't we close this and say yes, and let's get rid of what's in our temp tables. Goodbye. And here. Right, so, all right, one last thing we got to have, and I nearly forgot this, is go to design view, go to our command button, go to our event, our unclick, which we're clicking the command button. There's two things we need to add to this one. CMD cancel dot enabled equals dot visible, not enabled, but dot visible equals true. Me dot CMD confirm. Nope, hit vertical anchor. I'm sorry. Dot visible equals true. And you can click with an IntelliSense too if you want to select the item. I like typing it in myself. So we go onto this, we go form view, and look what happens. Both of those pop up. Oh, and there's one other thing we forgot. We're going to close this and let's see. And there's one other thing. The last thing, b dot cmd, and it's this one, the one we're on, equals false. Now this may seem like a lot, and so here's what happens. You can see now what happens. We can't add another book. We can't go to that process again, which, by the way, we have to fix up. And this is because we didn't reset this. So, or any one of these. And let's see, enabled is no. All right, so when we go in there, right, and actually, same thing for these four. Once you enable them, they stay enabled. In the parameters, you've got to disable them back again. We haven't done that yet. So that kind of logic, as we are here, once we hit this and we enable these here, I'm going to save here. So if I go to design view and I come back over to form view, Well, these are saying disabled. We've got to make sure we disable them back. Sometimes they will remain enabled. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, Z, Y, X, and then test 1999 and publisher 4 and here, right? So we're going to close this. So let's look in our temp tables just quickly. We got that one. We got that one. Fine. We're going to delete them. Let's see if it remains enabled. I think it will because I think it saved it that way, which may be because we're making changes here. Yeah. But let's see. In any event, you must make sure that when you change something, you change it back. And here we're okay. So we're going to keep a watch on this. But what's going to happen is if we cancel out, we're going to we're going to delete all the data, disable everything, and go back to square one. And if we enable everything, that's the same thing. We have one last little piece of information I think I forgot. It was just over here. It's hidden, but this should be text, and I want to make sure I got the right one. I don't need to really, I want to make sure I don't leave the possibility of not being able to BAID. Yeah. Text, oh, wait a minute. Control source. What's the name of the source? Text BAID. There it is. So I want to make sure that everything is correct here. So that, okay. So again, when you're seeing a control or when it references a control, you have to have that exclamation point, but the form itself is very different. You don't have to do that. And we're going to get into all of that at a later date, showing you the differences on how to reference forms and other things. So at this point, we're going to stop. And please like and subscribe as always. So what we learned? We've learned how to take this and automate some processes so far. We can set this in, right? And then we can, you know, jump and change our focus from, oh, it didn't, sorry, change our focus from one form to one form, the main form to the subform and so on. And then here we're going to have to, once the author selected, save and then allow additions equals false and leave the one author in there unless we want to add another one. And we're going to control that flow of events as well. So in any event, that takes care of our first, again, and we did the parsing of the record sets, very important stuff that you saw right here of how we parse them with either do loops or how we parse them with a for loop. Again, like and subscribe. I'm the database guy. I'm here for you. Wherever you are, have a good day, good evening, good morning, good night, good life.